اسمي دست قصادنا نرسي الحرام.
Does Aristotle say the bones come first and then the flesh and the muscles?
Is that what the
I'm not saying it. Can you
is that what the Quran specifically says?
Absolutely. This is exactly what the Quran says. Chapter
we're done
23.
Because you just demonstrated the Quran is wrong. Versus you have differentiation of mesoderm.
Right.
That within the mesoderm you have segregation into things like embryonic mesenchyme, and then you have these cartilaginous centers that will form bone.
Right.
And these are forming simultaneously with each other.
Right. Simultaneously.
Yes.
Even if that's the case, the Quran is right, because thumma is very, even if that's the case, linguistically the Quran is right. Thumma literally can in Arabic language means things happening simultaneously. Yes.
To realize is that there is no place where the Quran corrected Greek medicine. There is no place where Ibn Qayyim was shouting, "Hey, you guys, you've got this all wrong. The correct meaning of alaka is that which clings or leech-like substance." On the contrary, Ibn Qayyim was demonstrating the agreement between the Quran and the Greek medicine, their agreement in error. A final witness is the commentary of Baidawi in 1200 AD. Here we have the commentary, we have the Quran here, we have his commentary, and here it's been translated, and he says, then from alaka, a piece of solid blood is his explanation of alaka. Alaka is underlined, that's from the Quran. And here's his explanation, a piece of solid blood. Then he goes on, then from a piece of meat, from the Quran. A piece of meat originally as much as can be chewed, and so forth. As I mentioned at the beginning of this study, it has been said that the idea of the embryo developing through stages is a modern one, and that the Quran is anticipating modern embryology by depicting differing stages. Yet we have seen that Aristotle, Hippocrates, the Indians, and Galen have all discussed the stages of embryological development during the 1,000 years before the Quran. And after the coming of the Quran, the account of the different stages, as described by the Quran and the Greek doctors, was carried on in the teachings of Avicenna and Ibn Qayyim, and is essentially the same as that taught by Galen and those preceding him. Concerning the bone stage, it's clear, as Dr. Moore demonstrated so capably in his textbook, that muscles start forming from the somites at the same time as the cartilage models of the bones. There's no bone stage where there's a skeleton sitting here and then the muscles are plastered around it. It's equally clear that alaka in the Quran means clot, and that the Quraysh who heard Muhammad speaking understood him to be referring to the menstrual blood as the female contribution to the developing baby. Therefore, we can conclude that during all these years, the Quranic verses on embryology, saying that man is created from a drop of sperm which becomes a clot, were in perfect accord with the science of the 1st century of the Hijra, of the time of the Quran. But when compared with the modern science of the 20th century, Hippocrates is in error, Aristotle is in error, Galen is in error, and the Quran is in error. They are all in serious error.
It says, denoting conjunction in an absolute manner, with delay. Now the thing that really amuses me about this is that the example it cites from the Quran is the exact verse in question. Then we made the sperm a lump of clotted blood. Then we made the lump of clotted blood a bit of flesh. Then we made the bit of flesh bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. Form digital rays, fingers. The intervening tissue breaks down, forming notches between the digital rays, producing fingers and toes. It also says, as the limbs elongate, bones form. So, it is describing the presence of the flesh before the bones. As the author of page 364A, which was not Keith Moore by the way, tried to make this miracle work, they were probably annoyed that they couldn't even make the word muscles fit. Because later in the page, Keith Moore says, the limb musculature develops in situ from the mesenchyme surrounding the developing bones. But then the words surrounding the developing bones probably struck them, and they thought, clothe the bones with flesh or muscles, and in the miracle went. Then they probably had to refine the miracle a little bit, because claiming that bones have got muscles wrapped around them isn't really much of a miracle.
نروى الخير ذو البركة